What's going on, people? A boxing video. I saw something on one of these boxing shows, and they asked the hypothetical question of who would win the head-to-head fight between Wladimir Klitschko and Vitali Klitschko. Now, this is always the thing that boxing fans wanted to know. It's all hypothetical. They obviously would never fight. They promised their mother that, and both guys had great careers. I think from a career standpoint, I don't really see how anyone could argue that Wladimir Klitschko had the greater career. You look at his resume and accomplishments, no question about it. But from a head-to-head standpoint, how would a fight go down? And the first thing you got to factor in is the mental aspect of it. Vitali's the older brother, Vlad's the younger brother, that kind of thing. So, advantage to Vitali. I think just as a fighter, not in terms of technical skill, but just from a mentality standpoint, Vitali Klitschko was the mentally tougher fighter. What I saw with him and Lennox Lewis was pretty impressive. He really wanted to continue to the end. Now, Wladimir, he had a similar situation versus Anthony Joshua as well. But I think it took Wladimir a long time to get to that point. I think from a mental standpoint, Vitali was a little bit stronger. I think as far as the physical boxing goes, Wladimir is miles ahead of Vitali Klitschko. And I think that the reason people say that Vitali is this head-to-head monster is because he never lost a fight in the traditional sense. He lost to Chris Bird, but he was winning the fight, and then he tore his rotator cuff, so he quit in the fight. It was controversial at the time. Then he fought Lennox Lewis, and even though he got stopped because of cuts, it was because of cuts. It wasn't because of the ref stopping it or because of his corner stopping it or him not being able to beat the 10 count. So many of his fans will say that he's never really lost. I think that's a little bit of a reach, but whatever. Especially in the Lennox Lewis fight, I feel like if your fight was stopped because of cuts, it's an L. But, especially when it's cuts from a punch, but whatever. People, in my opinion, overrate Vitali Klitschko from a head-to-head standpoint because of the fact that he never lost in a traditional fight, in the traditional sense. But when you look at his actual resume, who did he beat? He does not have a very strong list of opponents. And people are going to get mad at me, but I don't care. His resume is similar to Deontay Wilder's when it comes to the opponents he beat. It's a little bit better, don't get me wrong, but it's not much better. And, the guy said it best online once. The best win of Vitali Klitschko's career is Corey Sanders. The second best win of Vitali Klitschko's career is Chris Arreola. The third best win of Vitali Klitschko's career is losing to Lennox Lewis. From a head-to-head standpoint and just from a boxing standpoint, breaking it down, Vitali is a little bit taller than Vlad. I think they have around the same reach. Maybe Vitali is an inch longer, not significant. Vitali has the much better stamina, and he has a way better chin. Wladimir Klitschko, to me, has a better everything else. Way better boxing ability, hard jab, not like Vitali, who kind of just flicks it. A massive right hand, which I would say is 10 out of 10 in terms of power. Vitali's is like a 7 out of 10, maybe a 6 even. He doesn't hit hard. And he doesn't hit hard? Look at his fight versus Lennox Lewis. And look at Lennox Lewis when he fought Mike Tyson or Hasim Rahman. When Mike Tyson was fighting Lennox Lewis and when Hasim Rahman was fighting him. Hasim Rahman hit Lennox Lewis with the right hand. It was night-night. Vitali hit him with a couple right hands. He was still standing. And you go with the Mike Tyson fight. When he was in there with Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis, you could hear Emmanuel Stewart screaming, "Get this guy out of here. You're going to be caught with some crazy ish." When he fought Vitali, he was like, make it a dogfight. Because he had no respect for Vitali's power. And George Foreman even brought that up in the broadcast. He has no respect for Vitali Klitschko's power because he doesn't have that kind of one-punch power. Now, Wladimir Klitschko, on the other hand, he's got one-punch power. Look what he did to Ray Austin. Look what he did to Eddie Chambers. Look what he did to Chris Bird. Look what he did to Anthony Joshua, knocking him out one punch. Pulev in the first round, he dropped him. He has one-punch power in the right hand, in the left hook, and a great jab. Vitali doesn't have these things. And then when you come to the defensive side of things, Wladimir, to me, is the better defense. His footwork is way better than him, and his actual defense is way better than him. Vitali was a good defensive fighter when he fights against smaller people. He's great at leaning back and judging the distance. So versus Corey Sanders and Sam Peter and guys like that, Derek Chisora, those kind of fighters you could do that with. But when you have a guy who's your height and reach, similar to your height and reach, that's not going to work. I think that Wladimir Klitschko, even in the head-to-head sense, will win. And I know the big kryptonite for Vlad is his chin. But Vitali doesn't have that kind of one-punch power that Layman Brewster or Corey Sanders had. So I see Vitali doing well in the fight, having moments, but I got Wladimir Klitschko winning a unanimous decision with Emmanuel Stewart in his corner. I think he's the better boxer with the better power, and I think stylistically he matches up well. The only thing is, could he overcome the whole mental thing of I'm going against my big brother, that kind of thing, which I think would be hard for both guys. I would say yes, he can. So I'm going with Wladimir Klitschko, UD. Let me know what you guys think about this mythical matchup and this fantasy fight. Would Vitali Klitschko be too much for Wladimir Klitschko, or would Wladimir Klitschko win the fight? Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Peace.